Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Parks and Cemetery Committee. Today's date, May 19th, 2023. President at this committee meeting, Councilman Brad Schramm, Councilman Chase Frank, Public Works Director Troy Kruger, City Attorney Paul Jensen, Finance Officer Chandra Phillips, and we'll be soon joined by Parks and Cemetery Supervisor Marty Peterson. I'm going to turn the floor over to Troy Kruger to start the meeting. He's got some topics before we get deep into Parks and Cemetery.
So we did not receive any bids for our McDonald Park and Bailey's complex concession stands.
For concession, yeah.
And since then, Nell Schlomer has asked if she can do it. So we're going to award that, give Nell those concession stands. We've had the way that we've done it in the city is whoever has the concession stand bid, we have required them to be safe serve.
Serve safe, yep.
We have the Leahy Bowl concession stand that she is not safe serve. And she is, I guess she's the teacher that she does at the high school or whatever. Anyways, what her teaching background is, but she has requested that she not have to get that certification. And that would be a change of policy. Because we do require, that is written in our policy that we do require that. And Chandra has spoke with her more than I have, so I'm going to let Chandra fill you in on that.
So typically, what happens is when they fill out or are awarded the bid or the contract for the concessions, part of that contract, it's not actually in policy, it's just part of the contract, that they're required to turn in insurance and someone who is ServSafe certified for that particular area that they are in, and they turn that into the finance office. The bid for Leahy Bowl is the Winter Baseball Association. Winter Baseball Association can sublet to anyone they want to. They have subletted to someone, but either Winter Baseball Association or the person they've sublet to needs to be ServSafe certified. This individual that they sublet to came in and stated that they spoke to the state. The state said it's not a state requirement, so why would we require it? And they have some background in home economics or something to that effect. I don't remember exactly what it was. I spoke with Russ Lawrenson at the state, who is our health inspector. He said that's one of the first 5 questions when he comes to inspect us. Is there a ServSafe certification on the wall for operating that area? So he believes, and he would dock us if we do not have ServSafe certification. I tried to call the state, the same person that this individual spoke with, could not get a return phone call. Only person I was able to speak with was Russ.
So is it the Baseball Association that has the bid for the concession stand?
For Leahy Bowl, correct.
And does the Baseball Association have a ServSafe certification?
They have not turned one in to me.
Okay. But had they had one in the past?
No.
Yeah, they always sublet it to somebody
The
else.
sublet, so excuse me, we only started bidding out Leahy Bowl 2 years ago. It was just automatically assumed the Winter Baseball Association could have it. Based on many conversations through many committees, it was determined, no, that is a City of Winter property. City of Winter needs to determine who has the concession stands, because if something goes wrong, it's our property, not theirs. So 2 years ago, we went out for bid on it. Winter Baseball Association has had it both of those years. Actually, I think this is the 3rd year. I'm sorry. The first 2 years.
Because it was a 2-year bid. I know there was
Yes.
confusion
Yep.
on the 2nd year.
Yes.
Yep.
So this is the 3rd year, and they bid it out for 3 years, so now they have it for a total of 5. The individuals that they subletted to, they did have a ServSafe.
But the
first
Baseball
2 years.
Association did not.
Correct.
Okay.
Which
Then
that's fine, as long as they're
We
subletted,
need
I
to
didn't
enforce
care.
it, yeah.
Yeah.
I just believe we do.
She's asking that we change our policy and not require it.
That's not something I'd be comfortable with. I think it's a very smart and good requirement for us to require that certification in our concession stands.
I agree, because there's a reason they call it serve safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to have people responsible in that concession stand that know how to handle the food properly. Yeah, you can't serve food that isn't cooked properly, and they serve cooked food, so unless everything they do is prepackaged, but they do hot dogs and they do popcorn, and so unless it's all prepackaged, they gotta be serve safe, in my opinion. Yeah.
The other thing Russ
So what
did
if she
say-
doesn't? What if she still refuses? Do we not allow her to operate it?
It would,
Or do we tell the baseball association?
the contract is with the Baseball
Yep,
Association, it would jeopardize that contract.
Now, somebody with the baseball association, and I know this, John Calhoun could take the test.
Yep,
He could be the one that's certified, and then anybody that works there doesn't have to be certified.
Correct.
But they're working under John's authority, because
Correct.
I cook at Golden Prairie, and their serve-safe designation covers me.
correct.
So that's why I know that stuff, so.
So Russ also said that rather than, because we put it out for bid every so often, rather than making those bidders be ServSafe certified, that an individual from the city who's involved in that could be ServSafe certified. I spoke with Mr. Jensen on that, he was very uncomfortable with it.
I wouldn't like
I
that,
am not comfortable with that at all.
yeah. Say it's Marty, he
It's
has
their-
no say.
We lease it out. And when it's a contract lease, whatever you want to
Yep,
call it,
yep.
it's their operation.
Yeah, because you're even, in my opinion, the place where I work is taking a chance on the person that is certified, making sure that Brad Schramm
Sure.
is doing everything that he's supposed to do. Well, we have to write everything down, so that's kind of easy for them to do, but
Yep.
that ain't gonna happen
Yep.
with the baseball association, like serving temperatures and those kinds of things. We have to document all that. I don't care to be involved with that at the baseball field, you
Yeah.
know.
I just wanted to let you know that there were options that were thrown out, but I agree with you
So we
from my
probably need to
standpoint.
tell our bidder, the baseball association, you guys need to provide a serve-safe certificate here.
No
Whether it's
question.
John Calhoun on it, or
Yeah.
whether it's Nell Schlomer.
Yeah.
I don't give, I don't care. Just
Thank
throw
you.
my hands up in the air, yeah. So, yeah.
So,
Yep.
for your information, there have been times where they have come in and said, I have it scheduled for this date, can I still operate until that date? We have always allowed that to happen because in the contract, it says ServSafe certified or working towards being ServSafe certified.
Okay.
Because you can't always guarantee when those tests are gonna be, because they do have to travel to go take that test.
Oh, do they?
Yep, so we've always been, as long as they're working towards it, we've been lenient on it, but
And I assume they provide us with some evidence that they're
they
working
do.
toward it.
And we reimburse them for it, so anyone who takes it, we reimburse them.
I'll let them know.
Really? There's a fee to that too, huh?
Yes.
Oh,
But we
I-
get it for cheaper because we're part of
Okay.
the government.
Well, you need to go to the baseball association,
Yep.
probably not to Nell.
Nell doesn't have it.
Yeah.
I mean, Nell has our other two, and Nell is ServSafe certified.
Yeah, Nell's operation.
Oh, who's doing the baseball association, or who's doing the Leahy Bowl?
The person who approached me as subletting it is Lisa J.
Oh, I thought that Nell was doing that at Leahy
She's
Bowl.
got the other two, but not this one.
Okay. My mistake then.
She's never
But
done that.
potentially,
She's
if
never done
on the
Leahy Bowl.
board.
She's never done Leahy Bowl?
No.
No, it's always the Borner girl, isn't it? Or Smith, yeah. Yep. Can't use names, sorry.
Using a lot of names. We're dropping a lot of names.
Yep, sorry.
But it's past factual, so I'm not gonna get too excited about it, but
Okay.
correct, we should amend that.
So we will stick to
We
our,
definitely need to require serve safe at Leahy Bowl.
we will stick to our current policy, and I will notify the Baseball Association that they need to, somebody either their concession stand subletter or themselves needs to get Surf Save, and
Yep.
they have to do it at ASAP. Second topic is, we did not budget for, but we've had quite a little bit of vandalism on our benches on Main Street. We would like to replace them. There's several that are broken up. There's quite a few that just are old and
The metal ones in the nodes,
yes.
the metal ones.
Yep, and they're not like they're made out of a composite metal material. They're kind of weird. I'm not sure what they're made out of, but,
It's like they rot out, isn't it? I mean,
well,
rust.
Maybe get brittle.
yeah, they get brittle. I mean, I don't know what
Same
they're
thing
made
out
out
there,
of, but
yep.
it's not,
Not safe to sit on.
well, you can kick them apart with your foot. That's what happened to the one in front of one of the, there's a node right in front of the Black Lab, and that one just got,
That
somebody
one
just,
got destroyed one night.
they just kicked it apart. I mean, it was in pieces, and then, but the paint's coming off all the rest of them, and they're in tough shape.
What's your cost per bench? How much does it cost per bench?
I don't know.
Okay.
I should know that, but I don't.
Well,
I just wanted to see if it was even possible to pursue it, but I'm guessing it's gonna be around $300 a bench.
How many benches are on Main Street?
2 in every node, isn't there? 2 on every block.
except for by the highway.
Eight
and by the-
Eight of them.
16? Yeah, there's one down there in front of, one right off Second Street.
Is there?
But there's on one side of the street, but not on the other side.
I would say
Oh,
it's
they're-
on
they're both
I think
sides
the
of
one on,
street.
by Second Street's on the east side of the Main Street, not the one on the west.
What's that?
Probably 10 of them.
I think there's at least 10.
Well, if they're a danger, you know, if they're falling apart, they're a danger, let's take them out and then figure out how much they cost and see if we can
Well-
figure out where we can steal money from.
I've looked around to see if I could find that bench again, so we can replace it with a similar bench, and I can't find that. I can't find anything that looks like it. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but just knowing what they're made out of, and everything that I'm finding is like a metal, a steel base, and these are not. They're, like I said, they're made out of some kind of composite something or another, but they,
So,
Those
What
ones
else?
on the rec trail,
Yeah.
made out of the composite wood with a metal frame or more.
they do better.
Like the deck, like that decking
Yeah, like
material.
Trex decking or
Yeah.
timber deck, whatever that stuff.
Yep,
So my question is,
They're a full 2 inches.
are you asking for funds outside your budget, like from unappropriated cash or from contingency?
yeah, I'm asking for money outside, and I don't know where this falls. Where does this fall under streets, parks? I mean, it's, I'm guessing it got done.
Marty's saying streets right now.
I'm guessing it
now
got
that I'm
done.
not on that committee, yeah, it comes from streets, yeah.
I mean, I'm guessing it got done when they redid Main Street years ago, and they put, you know.
That's when we put those in,
They
when the
redid
nodes were
everything, and
put
so
in,
it probably
yeah.
got thrown into the project, but, the other thing that we are working on is those concrete pillars that, as you walk up into the sidewalks,
Yep.
there's a concrete pillar. We either need to get rid of them or find a mold to replace them, and I don't know I've looked everywhere. I've talked to Divine, I've talked to DB, I've talked to Rosebud, and they make molds for those, and they can pour them, but, you know, we'd obviously have to buy the mold, and, they're really tough. I don't know what the purpose of them is.
To keep
Yes.
to keep the pickups off the sidewalk.
That's what I was told when they redid Main Street. I asked that exact
Yep.
question, and I think it was Denny Schroeder told me that it was to keep motor vehicles off the sidewalk.
Yeah. But now, like in Sioux Falls and even over here, they're just putting in an iron pipe now instead of that concrete thing, you know, where they put the push buttons for the for the
Yeah.
street lights, for the stoplight.
Are they for safety to,
Well,
so if somebody's
essentially,
walking
the-
down the sidewalk?
Essentially,
prevent
that's the
your
widest
pickup
part of
from-
the sidewalk, so if somebody wanted to take a motor vehicle onto the sidewalk, that's typically where they would go and try to get onto the sidewalk.
Yep.
And that, those things are so close together, it literally just prevents a motor vehicle from entering the sidewalk at the crosswalks.
Yeah, it prevents a
Yeah.
lot of things from
And it
going down the
also prevents,
sidewalk,
like, if we're.
including our snow removal equipment.
Yeah.
So, I guess, I Platt, drive around some other towns, they don't have them. I don't know, our speed limit is pretty slow on Main Street. Are they a necessity? Do we find a replacement for them, or do we, fill those in with concrete? Do we put something else up? But this last snow season, we had, 2 or 3 of them. Just the weight of the snow tipped them over, so they're starting to get brittle. When we're pushing snow and we're plowing by, some got hit. I'm not saying that didn't happen, but there was a couple that we're like, holy, what happened here? Just the weight of the snow as we pushed by, pushed them right over, so
And
they're,
not only that, the frost coming out of the ground, because they're not 4 feet in the ground. So just like a fence post, the frost comes up, pushes them up, and then they get too high up and they fall over.
yeah, we've actually removed some, and they're actually only about 18 inches.
I
off the
agree,
ground.
and that's
But
why
they-
the frost is pushing.
They all
it.
seem to break off right at ground level, so I don't know if it's because the water and the moisture's sitting there or what, but they're not pinned to the sidewalk.
Have you
There's a-
talked to our engineer? What's coming in my mind is I think we need to have our engineer check, is there some sort of a safety standard that we're supposed to be meeting where those sidewalks meet the road on those nodes? Should we have something there? I don't know if kind of a colored decorated baluster is sufficient or what, but I think Jake would probably know pretty quickly.
It would be my recommendation that if there's no law that says we have to have those to protect the sidewalks from vehicle traffic, that we ought to just take them out and fill the little circle in with concrete. But I don't think they're parks. I think that's a street project.
I do too.
Huh?
I do too.
Yeah, but we can sure talk about it, but in my opinion, if they're not mandated by some safety regulation, just like you said, because I know the reason they're there is to keep a pickup off the sidewalk.
Sure.
And so,
Well, by that, they should be at the entrance of the parking lots then too.
well, I'm not gonna disagree with you on that, yep. Because you can come in right where the 2 parking lots are on that one block.
And we
But-
should have-
But most of Main Street doesn't have an entrance to come in, except at the bank and,
I'm wondering if because you put the bench there, when you put the bench there and you have people sitting,
you still gotta have a 3-foot handicap access.
no, I'm just saying, when you put the bench there and you have people actually sitting there, is that why they put them in, to provide protection for the people that were sitting in the benches,
Could be
or?
possible.
Man, that was in the 80s when we did Main Street, so.
82 or 3.
Well, 82, they did the highway, and we did Main Street after that. I'm thinking it was 88 or so, but it
That
doesn't
could
matter.
be, yeah, right in there
It's
though.
been 30 or 40 years, you know?
But I mean, if they're falling apart and there's no reason for them, then I would say just.
Yeah, they're leaning over.
Yeah, I would say, because they've been in rough condition for the last couple of years.
My biggest fear is that, man, if one of them does tip over and, kids are playing on it or something, them suckers are heavy. I mean, they are a heavy piece of concrete, and that some of them are starting.
Find out if it's a safety thing. If it's not a safety thing, go to the street department and ask them if they want to take them out. You know, that's whose decision I think it should be, is the
Yeah, they make snow removal difficult.
Yep.
They make,
And if we have a problem with somebody driving up in those nodes, then we can deal with it after the fact.
yeah, find that hard to,
Honestly,
I find that hard to fathom that somebody would, and if they were in that shape where they took that, they're probably gonna take that pillar out. They're probably gonna take that thing out anyways, and,
Or are you thinking only inebriated people would try to park in them nodes? Yeah.
Well, now, wait a minute. They replaced the node down here on the highway, didn't they?
nope.
Well, that's right, they never did.
No, we took half of it out, but they replaced, they just put in the two,
You're
because you
right.
can't drive between those two things with a pickup.
Right.
Those metal ones they put in. you
Those
can't-
are not safety, those are crosswalk deals.
I understand
Right.
that,
They
Nothing to
are,
do
yeah.
with pedestrian protection at all, it's just for the
but you
crosswalk.
still can't drive up on the sidewalk because those things are in there. But they're all over Sioux Falls, those same 4-inch.
Yeah, that's new, DOT regulations for, you gotta have the rumble bars, the rumble pads and
Yeah.
for the blind, and then you have to have the push button deals for the handicap.
Try going on those rumble pads with a scooter.
Oh, I bet that's fine.
You about want to tip over because every
yeah.
one of them bumps turns your tire a different direction. Dumbest thing in the world. How many blind people do we have walking on our sidewalks?
Only takes one.
Not very many. Yep.
He's right. Only takes one.
Yeah.
So benches, you want me to take it out of parks, or you want me to take it out of streets, or you want me to?
I think it depends on whether or not there's regulations that we need.
no, the benches for me.
Oh, the benches, yeah, I say take the bad ones down and then come back and see what they're gonna cost.
He's asking streets also? Is that a streets project?
I would say it's probably streets because it's on
I agree.
I would think
street.
so, yeah.
Bring it back Monday. Marty, not your budget.
Marty's smiling.
Same with
I
the
did put in
flowers,
those two
right?
benches yesterday.
What's that?
I did put in that bench at Dairy Queen and the ones on
Oh,
the
okay.
east side yesterday. So
Yeah, I mean, and that kind of stuff, just, we've had several places in town where we've had benches or some sort of donated to the city, and it's usually it's in memory of or whatever. That kind of stuff comes up, pops up out of the, I took the pad out of miscellaneous concrete, so Darrell Bachman he poured the pads for us, and then the benches were donated, but, yeah, I think we've put in 3 pads so far this year for that kind of stuff, but
what's the deal at the Bass Pond with that pad?
there's another bench
There's
being
another
donated.
bench coming?
Yep,
Donated.
yep.
We wondered about that.
That's nice that people do that, and it's also nice that we provide the concrete to put it on, if that's what you're doing.
Yep.
I think that's the proper way to do it.
So, excuse me.
Bless you.
I will bring that, I will get prices. I apologize for that. I had the book. We usually order all of our park stuff out of it's a big Uniline catalog, and it's just got pages and pages of park benches and picnic tables and garbage cans, and that's another thing. Some of those garbage cans on Main Street they're the concrete ones with the embedded
Stones.
peat rock in them.
Yeah.
And they are kind of they're getting to the point where I don't, you deal with them a lot more than I do, but what they are is the whole lid picks up and it turns, and then you put a plastic bag in there, and it's just got some wires that you're supposed to just kind of, they're really hard to,
No can inside them, huh?
no can inside.
Oh, just a wire framework
Yeah,
for
and
a bag?
they're super hard to operate.
A small can inside of it, a small.
You could if you wanted to,
You could,
but
but
these aren't, yeah, okay.
whatever is a pain.
But they are heavy to the point where some of our parks kids cannot physically move the lids by themselves. Some of those girls are just not strong enough to move that lid, and it's not because the girls aren't strong enough. It's because they're really heavy, and you got to turn them just right or they catch.
They're finger pinchers if you're not.
They're getting beat up too. They're getting to the point of probably replacement, and So maybe that's probably another topic for streets, but, the reason I bring this up is the Parks Department takes care of all that. They take care of the garbage on Main Street, they take care of the nodes, they do the flowers, they do the park benches, if they get graffitied on, or they need a little bit of paint or whatever, it's always the Parks Department that's doing that kind of stuff, so
Okay.
that's why I brought it to this committee. But all of our Main Street stuff, like you said, 82 is when they redid Main Street, and I'm guessing that all of that stuff got bought in 82, and I think a couple more of those garbage cans got busted up this winter. We're getting kind of down on those, so that's probably something that we need to budget for in 2024.
That's just what I was gonna say. 'Cause 23, we don't have that in our budget to
No.
do any of that.
No, in the garbage cans, we probably have enough to, get us by, but the park benches, the reason I bring that up, and the damage that we've seen to them has just been here recently, like in the last 3 months, where a couple of them just got kicked apart and broken up, and so we've had to remove them completely. But I do think the park benches, they do get quite a bit of use. We've got, whenever we have a hot summer's night, or
Yep.
the carnival, different events that we have on Main Street, they definitely get used, so, can we get by? Probably can, but,
I think I'd like to see those get replaced sooner than later, just for the simple fact that they do, like you said, get a lot of use during all of our events during the summer on Main Street.
yeah, I think they're nice for people to, you see people sitting out them in the evenings when they're walking, they're all just walking and,
Yep. But if they're endangered, like, we had some out there that the slats themselves, like, rotted through. I mean, they're metal, but yet they rusted. If they're like that, they ought to be taken down right away, I think.
and then I was gonna do, I don't know how you guys feel about this, but, I did banners for Christmas, and it was kind of a big deal. I thought it really made Main Street look a lot nicer. I would like to do summer banners again, and put some City of Winter logo on there on some, just do a mixture of them, and put them on the poles on Main Street. It really does, this is just my opinion, and it's just me. I would like to do it. I've heard people say, hey, you did the Christmas banners, they looked wonderful, they loved it. Are you gonna do anything else? Are you gonna do any kind of other seasonal banners? And I would like to do summer banners. I think it makes Main Street look a lot nicer. But
You need money?
it's the public's money.
Out of your supply budget?
It's not a budgeted, I did not budget for it, again.
Good.
Can we look at,
The Christmas banners, I just made it work out of streets. We had the money.
I mean, I do like the way it looks and everything, but let's for sure talk about budgeting it for next year, so we have it for next year as well.
That's not something I'd want to use contingency money for, because that's kind of a,
No.
that'd be nice if we had it, but it's not necessary.
No, I
Compared to
wouldn't,
like
I wouldn't
the-
use contingency. I'd use it either use it out of parks or.
Yeah, like out of your
Or
supply
out of
budget.
streets.
I would say if you have the money for it somewhere in your budget, then
Marty's shaking his head, not out of parks. He's not, right.
Speaking of, what's the rest of your agenda?
4.
I wondered about the Bailey Field. Didn't we apply for a $150,000 grant or something? Are we gonna get that, or?
That's an update that,
We don't technically have the grant yet. We've been approved at the state level, but we have not been approved at the federal level.
Okay.
So we're still waiting to hear on that. So,
Okay.
Last I heard from the state, it's looking like July or August. Before they'll award it.
before they'll award it? Okay.
Which may mean that by that time, I don't know that you can order or get anything and get it in. So it might mean that it just is a 2024.
Well, it's just that I was approached because now we have officially girls softball. How come we're not doing anything to Bailey Field to make it be okay? And I said, well, I think that's in the plans, but we're waiting for the money. Is that not was that not an act? Because I wasn't on this committee then, but yet as soon as I got on it, right away, a softball parent.
We've already started on improvements to Bailey's, and there's some things down there that, that we're gonna have to go ahead and do irregardless of whether we get the grant or not. Marty's already started on, the backstops are not, they're old backstops.
Are
that
we putting up net backstops or?
Yep.
Okay,
Just like McDonald's,
okay, very good.
keep fall balls out of the parks and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. But net instead of chain link, that's what I meant,
That's
yeah,
it's easy.
yeah.
The only thing with the grant is if it is something you applied for the grant on and you purchase it beforehand, the grant is null. We won't get it.
But my understanding, we had 25,000 budgeted
For this year.
for this year anyway.
We do.
Okay.
As
'Cause
long
I've been
as it's not
spending-
part of that grant. Otherwise, if you're gonna buy something that was on the grant, i.e. backstops, nets, you may as well just kiss the grant goodbye.
So don't be doing that.
Well, I don't know what was on the grant.
Well, like I said, there's things down there that, we're getting to the point where we have to do something about it. The $25,000 this year, is gonna go fast. The backstops really that we're doing, there's really no money involved in those. What'd the net cost? $2,000. But we're using the poles off the highway project, the light poles, to do this. We have not replaced any of the fence, any of the chain link fence. We haven't replaced any more dugouts.
But is that part of the grant we applied for?
Yeah, that's part of that grant money that we would
And
be
if we
looking
do
at.
any of that, do we then get disqualified from all of it?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
So we about have to wait until June or July before we could really start then
Yeah,
on that, okay.
but this $25,000 that got appropriated for this year, we need two new doors on the bathrooms
Yeah.
down there. One is completely gone now. The other one is close to being gone. So, that has to be done. We have some concrete work down there that, has become a trip hazard. And I'll probably have DB do some of that concrete work this fall yet, or
Out of
hopefully,
the miscellaneous concrete?
yep.
Yeah,
He can hopefully get to that, but actually, I'll probably pay for that out of that $25,000 that they've got budgeted for parks to do Bailey's Field improvements, but,
good.
we don't have to spend this money. You have 3 years. So the $25,000 that you guys appropriated, it doesn't have to be, we don't have to include that in the grant.
Stuff that's outside the grant.
Yeah, we can
That's
just,
the way I understood it.
we can use
If
it.
we buy stuff outside of the grant, that like,
Which, when we applied for this grant, we stated in the grant that it was going towards specific things already, or?
Yep, and you had to be very specific and we got quotes. And Rich was here at the time, so Rich was one who provided the quotes. There was some playground equipment, some backstops, some net,
Covers.
potentially moving some utilities. There was quite a few things that were involved in that. And I have the grant application, not with me obviously, but I
Yeah.
can get that and send that out so everyone can see.
Well, as long as we don't jeopardize that, yeah, do
Also,
the
let's
other
make sure
things.
Troy and Marty get that, so we know we're not,
Yeah.
Oh, I know what it is.
what?
I know what it is. I know what's on the list. Rich and I made it up.
All right.
Good.
But, yeah, but there's some things that, like I said,
They need
there's,
to be done regardless.
there's some concrete work down there that where somebody's gonna trip on it, and we're gonna be in legal trouble, so there's just some things that, can't wait any longer.
Because we're
Nobody
really-
told us on this, when we applied for this grant, we were told that by the guy that came down here and visited us, with us, that he kinda indicated that we would know by the end of last year. Well, now here we are in July of 2023, and we still don't know.
Yep.
And some of those things that we put on that grant were things that we knew were going to have to be done, or that we wanted to get done before the softball season started, because the state of which that they were in, we didn't want to go through another season with them
Yep.
like that. But
Yep.
there's some things where you just, you can't wait any longer. They got to be fixed, they got to be fixed.
But if I understand our non-school softball, we don't play in winter anyway. So we,
Yeah, we play them.
okay, because I thought they went to Pier and played,
Well, that's the 16 and under, or 16, 18 and under.
right.
There's still
It's
8 and under, 10 and under, 12 and under playing town on Monday and Wednesday.
very good, okay, very good, yep, yep.
No, we're okay for fields. Little League needs one field on Tuesdays and Fridays. Softball needs 2 fields on Monday and Wednesday. And T-ball's got 6 teams, which they would like 3 fields, but they got a team in Cologne. So they'll play 2 games up here and 1 in Cologne every Thursday. So
Very good,
we're at the minimum fields right now.
okay.
And we'll have the Westfield, probably have that,
Bailey,
yeah, we'll probably have that ready to go here in, another couple of weeks. The net's supposed to be here in 2 weeks.
But this week's lost on the cemetery.
Yeah, it's gonna be busy. Memorial Day's coming up. Cemetery becomes a high priority, so ballparks kind of take, but that work that we're doing out there kind of takes a back seat to that. We've gotten a lot of moisture, so we got a lot of mowing to do, and we've got a lot of spraying to do and upkeep. That's all I have.
What was the schedule of games and how they play out this year? In a week, Monday and,
Monday and Wednesday, girls softball. Tuesday, Friday, Little League baseball. And Thursday, T-ball.
sounds like every day,
Yeah, that's all.
that's good,
Yeah.
that's
And
good.
then Leahy Bowl most every weekend and
most every day.
most every day.
So Troy, I was out at the
Counted
cemetery,
72 games and 32 nights.
Is that with the regionals?
Yep.
Okay.
all right,
The most that you've ever put on is 89, and that was like 3 summers ago. There were 89 games on that field.
I just got an email too from John Calhoun. We're getting a regional.
Yes, Monday.
3 games on Monday, 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock.
oh, for the high school?
Yes.
Yeah, I saw we're the number 2 seed, yeah.
Nice hire.
What?
Nice hire.
No, thanks.
So what about that tree out at the cemetery? I was out there yesterday, it looks to me like it's even bleeding or getting worse. That one that was, the worms have got, or whatever, the aphids.
Yeah.
What are we gonna do about that?
Nothing.
That's-
Nothing?
It's not any different than it's ever been. It's been like that for, I don't know,
that's
as long as
really
anyone
good.
can remember.
Unknown caller.
We're getting operational here.
What's that?
We're getting operational. It's up to the cemetery folks.
Well, I just wondered what the process is. Because I have another question. We have 5 posts. Some of them are T-posts with a, whether it's iron or PVC pipe or whatever it is, to stop people from cutting corners off the roads. And my question is if we can take those trees that we put in at Leahy Bowl and replace those posts with trees at the cemetery. The trees at Leahy Bowl, we only have 45 parking spots anyway, and we've got 4 of them on the east side that are taken up with a tree now, and the one is between that canopy thing and it just doesn't make any sense to me to have trees up there.
Well, that's your opinion, but I've had a lot of people express their opinion to me, and they would like at some point in time to have shade up there so they can sit and watch a game in the shade. We have those concrete pads down there that are made for people to sit on. The city spent money on it and put those in, and no one sits on them because it's too hot. And we get that comment a lot from spectators, is that, they love the field, they love,
Yep.
they love the way the layout of Leahy Bowl, but there's no shade. And in the summertime, when it's 100 degrees, they sit in their cars, or they sit, because it's too hot to sit outside. So, that's why we put the trees in, because we've heard, I mean, we've heard enough people say it. But, I mean, and people like trees, you know. You don't like it, but if I had to tell you how many people said that they like it and how many people say they don't like it, I would say it's 10-2 on the people that like it versus don't like it.
5-1.
Okay.
That's why we put them in. And the last park superintendent was big on it, and he wanted to do it. He put them, you know, he put them in, and I don't, personally, I don't go up there and watch baseball. I don't have kids that participate in it, and I don't have any family members in it that participate in it, but just hearing what the community says, it's been brought up multiple times that, you know, they would like to be able to sit under some shade. You know, we get people that ask all the time, can you put up any more of those canopies so we can sit under the canopies so we can get out of the sun? Well, we could put canopies up all day long, but that really starts to cut into your
You don't have
parking.
any parking for that.
Then you wouldn't have any parking at all, and, you know, there's a lot of ball fields in this world where you don't have the option to sit in your car.
That's correct.
You go to a lot of the complexes in Sioux Falls or Rapid City or Mitchell or any of those, they don't even let you get your car anywhere close to a field. They provide seating, bleachers, and that's where you sit. And a lot of those ball fields have trees to shade people so they can sit in their lawn chairs, so they can, you know.
Yep. Because you can't sit in your car and watch.
That's correct.
That's
So I
correct.
think we have the city of Winter has a unique field that provides that opportunity to do that, but there's also the people that don't want to sit in their car. They came to a baseball game, they want to sit in the lawn chair, and they want to sit outside and be in some shade. So that was the reason behind that. I supported it. I thought it was a good idea. I mean, everywhere you go, when my kids were playing Little League Baseball, trees all over the ballpark, you could always find some shade to sit in, and wherever there's shade, that's where all the people are at.
Yep.
So it might
As long as
take,
you park half a block or a block away, then you can sit underneath the tree. The point I make is, we only have so many parking spots up there, and now we have 4 that are designated for handicap only, and we have 1 or 2 people that might utilize those, so they'll sit empty during the games, and nobody's gonna park in front of or with that tree between them and their view of the field. So we have 4 more parking spots out of our 45. So in effect, we have 8 empty parking spots.
are the bleachers full?
Generally,
So there's no more seating in the seats?
in seats, because, you know, we don't have hardly any seating up there, you know, in the seats. Now, if everybody that sat in the seats would park their cars beside the trees or under the trees, then you wouldn't have a problem, but that's, I mean, you can go up there on a baseball night and there's no place to park.
I do know that the trees that he planted are supposed to be they're a native to the area species of trees. They're fast growing, and they'll become a tree that'll be tall enough that you'll be able to see under the trees.
Yeah.
Once, you know,
But those things that they put in along third base and first base, nobody sits in those because you can't see home plate. That's why nobody sits in those things. Great idea, wrong location. They don't not sit there because it's not shady. Because you cannot see home plate if you're sitting on a chair in those cutouts that Rotary put in. So that's why people don't sit there. I've always said that Leahy Bowl is not a intimate baseball field like you have at Gregory. Okay, go to Gregory, sit in the bleachers, right on the baseline, trees all over the place, plenty of shade, okay? A very intimate baseball field. As I've been thinking about it, and I haven't been involved for a long time, as everybody knows, but we have 3 parking spots taken up by the canopy that sits up in the parking lot. If that were, and just bear with me here, but if you cut that in half down the center and put those 2 pieces behind the chain link fence between the dugout and home plate, you would have shade at the baseball field that people would sit in. And then you would have place for 3 more parking spots upstairs. It's something that I'd like you guys to look at, because it'd be easy to cut that 16-foot parking area, or canopy, whatever you call it,
I thought
that
that-
shelter that's up there.
What was that? I don't even know why that was put in. Was it for handicap, wasn't it?
No,
Just shade.
it
Just
was
shade?
put in for shade.
Yeah.
Canopy was-
But if you put that down there, Brad, you talked about the obstruction of the view of home plate.
Wouldn't-
It's 10 feet tall in its center point, and I'm thinking you're going to cut it down the middle. You
Yep.
put that 10 feet down along that, between the dugouts and home plate, where you're saying, I agree, people would sit there, but I think you've obstructed the view from anybody that's not in the stands then.
That we need to find out.
Okay.
The stands they wouldn't see it.
No, the
because it would
stands
be
they wouldn't.
between, but the cars parked on top would see right over top of it, because the top of the dugout is also 11 feet tall
Okay.
from the ground. And that's why we need to just take a rope and put it straight across there before we do anything, and see if it would obstruct the vision.
The other thing and I'm not laughing at the idea, but my immediate thought was, we probably need to talk to the Baseball Association and see if their coaches want parents that close to the dugout.
I know.
That could become a problem also.
Because you remember when we built those dugouts, they were open
Yes,
until the parents all came down. one
yes.
time.
We
Then we
closed
put
that
the
off.
sides on them, because we had open dugouts before, but
the
I'd
other-
like the Parks Committee, or the Parks people, to look at that idea and see if we can't get more parking up on top.
The other thing is, if you're gonna move something like that down there, you're gonna have to pour a concrete pad or something to set it on.
Your
You're
light
gonna-
pole's right there,
You're gonna have
too.
to do some
It would be
excavate.
between the light tower and the pole of the netting.
Tight.
Then you're gonna have to provide a walkway to get down the hill, so, people don't slip and fall, and
But those are wants. One thing, and not discounting, one thing I have to ask is the warm-up backstop on the visitor side. I was watching the St. Thomas More pitcher warm-up, and there were a lot of kids standing behind the catcher, and a couple of wild ones got by. I was like, ooh,
I took them down last fall with intentions of putting them up.
Getting it back up.
I just,
ran out of
yeah, I
time.
gotta get to it.
Okay.
That's on the list.
But, I think it's fair to state that my vision for parks and where we're gonna go with money in the next couple of years is not Leahy Bowl. It's the Bailey's Complex, and to get that caught up, because, Parks only has so much money. It takes a lot of money just to operate all the ball fields, period. We do have some bigger ticket items at Leahy Bowl that we probably need to discuss in the future, one
We need
being,
lights real bad.
one being lights, and that's probably something that we're gonna have to set money aside for a couple of years or ask, maybe people wanna do it in one chunk, I don't know, but, we do need to get softball and little guys baseball caught up with Leahy Bowl. We can't just keep spending every year and not put anything into those other fields, and those other fields are costing a lot of money. It's gonna cost a lot of money. And you can see what Marty's bottom line is on parks, the sheet's sitting in front of you. It doesn't go very far. And, we're kind of committed to this grant if we get it. So I know what you're talking about sounds like some simple stuff, but once you move that thing down there, then you got to put a concrete pad underneath it for
Doesn't have
people.
a concrete pad now.
well, but it's up in the gravelled area. We move it down the hill where it's, what if you have, and my thing is too, is don't do something, just do it right, so it looks nice.
I agree.
Don't just cobble something together so that,
I'm just giving you ideas, asking you to consider these things, because I think it'll be a real improvement if we had seating area at the baseball field, at the bottom of the hill, for those that want to go sit there. Then when you have a tournament and the next team up, instead of them sitting in the seats that people are paying for, instead of the baseball players sitting there, they're more likely to sit at the bottom of the hill with their gear rather than in the seating area that you'd rather have the adults sit in.
yep, I hear you.
Just
We'd also like to,
thoughts is all they are.
I also stated last Parks Committee meeting that I would like to get the softball people in here, the little guys' baseball people, and the Winter Baseball Association. I want to get them in here rather than do it, historically, we've always done it just before the baseball season. Well, that doesn't do us any good budgeting-wise. So we need to get those people in here in the next month or two, and we need to,
wish list.
hear their ideas and what's on their wish list, so that we can appropriate the money for some of that stuff if they bring up some good suggestions, and we feel like it's something that the city wants to do, then we can budget for it instead of trying to find money when the baseball season's starting up, so.
Agree 100%. And I read in one of the reports that we get, from the meetings before I was on this committee, that there's talk about putting a window on the north side of the concession stand.
That was a request.
I think that's a bad idea.
Again, just a request that came in from Baseball Association. I mean,
Okay.
they have ideas
Yep.
that may not fit with the vision of the park supervisor and the public works director.
Sure.
But we need to hear that. Down at the softball fields, the high school softball games have been, we played 2 there. I think next year the schedule will be a lot heavier as far as a home schedule.
Sure.
And when they're over on the Bailey Field, they were hoping to have some different things in there also. So you got the high school baseball coaches, softball coaches, Little League, that's an entirely different board from the other 2. They have some ideas of what they would like to see these guys doing. I mean, Troy's idea of getting people in here to hear what they need for their individual leagues is
And make
Good
a
idea.
plan, yeah.
Yeah.
Such that you can.
I've been looking at other communities that fit kind of what we're doing here in Winter, and they have a sports authority. That's those committees coming in with this committee, and we don't need to create a sports authority, but have them in here with council, the supervisor, and the public works director, and talk about goals and different things.
SDCL actually has a parks board that cities utilize, which include members outside of city council, and that is an ability that SDCL sets forth for municipalities, if that is something you're considering.
Well, your idea of bringing the organizations into the same room is a good idea.
Yeah.
If that's your idea, Troy, that's a great idea.
Well, we got to do that. I know, since they started girls softball as a high school sport, that's what I'm getting at. is,
That's right away what I got
We
jumped
have-
about, yeah.
we have another high school sport, and it's our fields that they play on, and you're going to hear that. People are going to say, well,
It's awkward because when you talk about high school sports, any other sport, for the most part, that's sanctioned is done on
On a high school field.
high school grounds, and now softball, high school softball is sanctioned. And one of the biggest challenges for the athletic directors that I've been talking to is getting their coordination now with city, and it's across the state, it has been complicated.
Yeah.
We've probably handled it better than
We just need to
most
make sure we
towns.
cooperate as much as we can, and if we get that both ways, it works a lot better.
Quite honestly, the high school might have funding that they could put towards that Bailey Field also. Since it's a cooperative agreement, we might be able to work with the high school on joint funds, joint projects. You can do that legally, so.
I think one thing that, you know, girls softball, it's early in the season, and I'm guessing it's gonna become an issue, is they're gonna want a concession stand for those games, you know, and how many do we have this year?
Two.
We got one more.
One,
We'll
so
host a region game Tuesday.
3
I
total?
hadn't heard, we were top 8.
We were 6 yesterday. We
Awesome.
got 2 games today.
If they hold, then they'll host the Sodak 16 here.
It'll be Flandria comes down.
So,
No, there was a concession stand for the last home game.
There was.
Now opened it.
okay.
We approved that contract Monday night with Nell, and she opened on Tuesday.
But maybe that, I mean, you know,
Or was that Monday?
in the future, those games are early, and maybe the school can help out with the concession stands for those games, or, I mean, it's just conversations to be had to make sure it goes smoothly and that we're giving the girls softball the same amount of attention that we're giving to baseball, and so nobody's feeling.
And that's what I heard too, was everything goes to Leahy Bowl and nothing goes to Bailey Field. And then I found out we have a $150,000 grant that we're hoping to get. So I was quick to go back to that same person and say, now, wait a minute. So,
We have 1 minute left. Actually, we're getting to the end of time. I just want to touch, if you guys would, on cemetery and how that's going as we prepare for Memorial Day. That was a concern last year. How's things? You're just getting your summer kids in right now, right?
It's really green. We mowed it twice already. And
5 lawnmowers were out there yesterday.
we let it get a little long last week, or this week. It was tough mowing, but we got it done. We got a lot of new grass going on the graves, not everywhere yet. It's slow, but it's popping up.
Okay.
Got the water on. Got a couple of leaks we gotta find yet. Always, yeah, that's a, but I like the direction it's going, but, you know, that's only my opinion, so.
I agree with you, Marty. Like I said, I drove out yesterday just to see if we're gonna have the same issue that we had last year. It doesn't look to me like we are. I made a comment to my brother. I said, looks to me like we got all hands on deck. I saw 5 of the regular lawnmowers and the $40,000 one, all out there working. And so, looks to me like that's what we need to do, and we'll probably have to mow it again before Memorial Day.
And I wanna mow it Wednesday, but there's a chance of rain Wednesday, so.
We'll get it mowed, I mean,
Yep, it looks,
we're gonna throw,
Yeah.
and last year,
is one weed eater enough though? Is it, can he keep up?
It takes them a whole week to do it.
Yeah.
But next week, yeah, we'll all be on them.
Yeah, because there's okay, so you'll have more weed eating? Okay, okay. Because I wondered if he would even be able to get it all weed-eated in a week.
Yeah, it takes a week,
Really?
one guy to do that.
Yeah, wow. There's a lot of tombstones to go around.
well, and we'll get it mowed. Last year, the mowing got done a little bit backwards, but we're kind of in the same predicament. We're actually kind of in the same boat that we were last year, and that's just the nature of the beast. It's where we live. You know, we live out in western South Dakota, and when it rains, things get green and they grow fast. When the rain shuts off, things quit growing. But, I mean, I've mowed my yard 3 times already since we've started getting all this rain, and I'm gonna mow again tonight. We'll mow it. We'll have it ready for people to start setting out on that Thursday before Memorial Day, and once they get their personal memorials on the graves, it will be done, it'll be mowed, and they will be able to place that stuff on there.
Marty made a good point. Thursday at 5 o'clock, after the workday.
Yep.
So do you want that posted then, Marty? Okay. I had been informed of both
Stuff
yet.
to be made the
So the
following
Memorial Day is the 4th Monday, is that correct?
Yes.
Because I see that the High School Baseball Association, their tournament is not until the 5th Monday. So they're no longer gonna have their tournament on Memorial Day weekend.
It's the fifth Monday this month.
It's
Oh.
like the 29th or something.
Yep.
isn't it?
Memorial Day is the 29th. Yes.
Yeah,
I thought it was the fourth Monday of the month.
The last Monday of the month.
Okay,
Last
okay, well, then I have to correct myself.
It's the 29th of May.
Very good.
okay. I'm going to get Chase and Councilman Schramm down the road. We've been here an hour. We'll break. Don't forget, start seeing your budgets. You've got a kind of a good start going here.